Hello guys, I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, hello, my name is Jess, and on this channel we vlog, we talk about lifestyle, fashion, travel, a bit of everything, and basically just living your best life. And if you are returning, then welcome back. And as you can see from the title, I'm going to be doing a no spend month this January, which is something that I've been considering for quite a while, and I just decided that now would be a really good time to do it because I've been really deep diving into my finances. I'm in my savings girl era. If you've seen my recent vlogs, I talk a lot about how I'm really trying to be more financially savvy and really get on top of my money and how frivolous I can spend, because I know it's not an excuse. I definitely have ADHD. I'm currently waiting on a diagnosis, and part of that is impulse spending and being really reckless with money as a dopamine hit, and I am definitely someone that does this. So I'm really trying to make sure that I limit my spending and just change some of those things that I am very much wired to do, like impulsive spending, like adding little extra things into the grocery cart every week, like spending money for no reason because something impulsively just makes me feel good. So this is something that I've been researching quite heavily online, and I came across it from actually my YouTube search page. I don't know why it appeared on there. Maybe I've been watching like financial podcast things or something, and I just thought it sounded like a really cool idea. So I've been doing lots of research into what a no spend month means. People do various periods of time. You don't have to do a month. A month is just like a good indication of a time period, but people do them for a year, people do them for like 2 weeks, etc. The choice is completely yours. So I thought in this video I would talk to you about why I'm personally doing one and share with you a roundabout look at the rules for a no spend month, and share with you the rules that I'm going to be adding in for my own no spend month, because obviously this isn't like a one size fits all thing. There's no set guidelines you have to follow. It's just a like roundabout set of rules that go around the internet, and everyone's been kind of adding and changing them into what works for that person. I thought first and foremost I would talk to you about why I'm doing it, and then we'll get into the rules of how to do it yourself if you are thinking about it. So the no spend month is something, like I said, I've been thinking about for a while, and the reason that I really want to do it is a few different things. So number one is to just get a really well-rounded look at my finances, because I want to know exactly what's coming in and out of my accounts every month. And I think that if you are actively not looking at your finances, then there's an issue. And I am someone who just does not look at my bank account. I don't like to pay attention to it, and I really want to get used to feeling comfortable looking at my finances. I'm working a lot on my money mindset at the moment. I'm really big into that kind of thing. So I've got several books that I'm currently planning to read over this month about money mindset and, you know, changing the way that my brain works towards money and the things and the rules and the beliefs that I've built up over my lifetime. So that was one of my initial things, was just getting to grips with the money that's coming in and out of my accounts every month, limiting anything that I maybe don't need to have. And I really want to just get on top of having an emergency fund and like just a savings account, not specifically for anything, but kind of for something. I'll get into that in a minute. But I want to have a savings account that is ready and set for if I ever need it, whether that's because I'm unable to work for whatever reason and I maybe need to dip into it for a month of rent. Maybe it's that my car dies and I need to buy a new car. Maybe it's that there's just, you know, something that I need to pay out for. Luckily at the moment I rent, so I don't have to pay for things like boilers and stuff, but in the future obviously I will have to think about things like this too. But I am also planning to buy a house with my partner in the next year or two, and I really want to make sure that we've got a good savings pot backed up. I currently have a lot less saved than he does. He's been really good his whole life at saving money, which is part of the reason that I decided to do a no spend, because he is teaching me so many things and he has really inspired me to be a little bit more savvy with money. So I really want to make sure that we have the funds to buy a house. At the moment, with the current state of the UK housing market and mortgage rates, I don't think we'll be buying anytime soon, but that kind of benefits in a way, because the way I like to look at it is we probably won't be buying until the mortgage rates drop to a reasonable amount where we are getting a good amount of house for the mortgage rate, and we don't want to be paying too much more than we currently pay in rent for a mortgage. So we're currently in a quite big 2-bedroom flat and we pay fairly reasonable for our area. Actually, to be honest, we probably pay less than a lot of people in our area, because flats in my block and in similar like sizes in the same location have been going up and they're a bit more expensive. So we want to make sure that we're getting the best for our money, and that means that we're probably going to be saving for a little bit longer and maybe into like early 2025, maybe late 2025. That to me is a benefit, because I'm seeing that as a greater opportunity to save more money, and just know that the pot of money that we have got towards a house is going to be larger, and we'll probably be able to get a bigger house or put more money down towards a house and have less of a mortgage, etc. I and he are not in the financial position where we've had someone to help us with money. I know that a lot of people do get that from parents or relatives, etc. We haven't had that, which I'm kind of grateful for in a way, because I think that as much as it's annoying and I would love to have just been given some money to buy a house, it means that I'm going to have to work a lot harder to get there, so I'll probably appreciate it a lot more when I do. So situationally, we're just going to have to pay for our entire house ourselves, which is totally fine, and I'm okay with that because it's just something I've always had to do. The next thing is because I want to pay off my credit card. I've had a credit card since pretty much university. I don't have a lot of money on my credit cards, but I do want to minimize the amount back down to 0 and keep them for an emergency, because the quicker I pay them off, the better my credit rating is going to be, and I also want my credit score to just, you know, be able to use it for an emergency if I need to, but also just to kind of keep paying off that credit card and not rely on it at all. Not that I rely on it right now, but definitely at points throughout COVID, etc. I did use it a little bit more than I maybe should have. And lastly, I really want to start learning more about investing. I have got a little bit of money pocketed away, but I want to get really good at learning about investments, and I want to start making sure that I know where is good to invest my money, companies that are good, rates that are good, all these different things, and just become really savvy with stocks and trading, so that I can pocket some money away and know that that is a little bit of money that's going to help me in my later life, as well as being a generational wealth that I can hopefully just, you know, help to support my family in the future. So with that being said, those are my personal reasons for doing them. Everyone has different reasons. I think most people do it more to kind of build a savings account or buy a house, but they're my personal reasons for wanting to do a no spend month. I am going to be documenting the entire thing on my weekly vlogs, as well as a video at the end if you are looking to kind of find out more about what I did and how I did it, etc. So keep your eyes peeled towards the end of the month for that one. But I thought I would just dive into the rules of a no spend, because there's a lot of conflicting rules. I tried to do a deep dive to find like the kind of overall consensus of rules, but there was a lot of ones that kind of share different opinions on things. So these are the things that I would deem to be the set rules that are like kind of basic, and then I'm going to share with you the rules that I'm adding in for myself. But obviously if you decide to do a no spend, you can do it as you please. So the rules and the way to do a no spend is basically you do not spend money on anything that is not deemed essential. So you basically just cut all of your impulsive spending, all of your non-essential spending, whether that's buying books, or by books I mean like novels and stuff, or you know, maybe you like buying the odd extra bubble bath in your grocery shop or some Lush bath bombs. Maybe it's that you like to spend more money on gym classes outside of your gym membership. Whatever it is, whatever those costs are, whether it's clothes or whatever, that is non-essential spending, stuff that you do not need to live your life. So essential spending would be things like your food shop, your petrol, your rent, your bills, your like toiletries and essentials, those kind of things. So anything that is essential to you living your life, and obviously hygiene and all that kind of stuff. But anything that's not essential, we don't spend on it. We're cutting the spending. There is versions of this where you can do it's called like a, not no spend, it's like low spend instead, which is basically where you set yourself a budget and you can only spend up to that amount. I just personally thought a no spend would be quite beneficial, because I, like I said, have not got the best money habits. So we're trying to fix that. Now, the first thing that I've seen a lot of people mentioning to do is to analyze your spending habits. So go through your bank statement. If you are like me and you have a Monzo account, they're really, really fab for this, because it basically categorizes everything for you and tells you about your spending like throughout the month. So some months it'll be like, oh, you're spending more than normal, etc. So analyze your spending and work out exactly what your monthly outgoings are that are essential. So the things that you have to spend money on every month, whether that's your rent, your bills, maybe your car's on finance, maybe you've got a gym membership that you use all the time and it's essential, maybe it's your phone bill, etc. All of the things that are deemed essential to you. Now, you obviously will have some things that may be different to me. I have things like I really need editing software for running my business, because this is my business. I also have things like I need a podcast software, etc. So those to me are deemed like essential for my business. And I think the best part of that is that you get to see any like apps or stuff on your phone that's not deemed essential, because apps are technically still an outgoing every month that you're paying. So if you're paying, I don't know, like 11.99 a month for Netflix, and then you're paying like $5.99 for a Lightroom app or something, those are still essential outgoings that are going out, or not, maybe not essential, but those are still outgoings every month. So you need to really factor those into your monthly spending, and then you can cut things where needed. So for example, Netflix, my partner and I go halves on subscriptions. So he pays for Disney, I pay for Netflix, and then I also have Hey You because I like reality TV. But I know that when those shows are not currently in season, I can delete Hey You, and I can just, you know, not have that for a little bit. So things like that are just really good to look into, and I think apps and that kind of realm are a really good way to start docking some of those monthly outgoings that you maybe aren't thinking about. Because I don't know about you, but when I think about rent and bills and stuff, I think about literally just like gas, electric, like internet, etc. I don't think about the apps that come out, or the softwares, or the like programs and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely think it's worth looking at that. And then if you are someone with a set monthly salary, it's advised on like no spend rules that you set aside an amount a month that you can justify putting into a savings account when you take out those non-essential spends. So say for example, your non-essential spends, I can't speak, your non-essential spends for the month, say you spent, I don't know, 1,700 is your bills, your rent, and your essential things that you have to buy. So, you know, maybe you do need the software for an app. Anything that's non-essential, so clothes or eating out or takeaways or delivery apps or whatever it is that you pay for, that's all non-essential. So work out from that how much in that little pot that's left over after your rent and bills. So let's say you earn £2,000 a month, your rent and bills come to 1,500. Out of that extra £500, how much can you justify putting into savings accounts every month if you really, like, if you knew that saving was super important to you? Because saving should be one of those things where it's second to paying our bills and stuff. We should be prioritizing it a little bit more. So try and work out how much you can do, or maybe a percentage of it. And if you're like me and you have an income where it's not a set amount each month, I'm a freelance, obviously I do social media, and I run a business called the Good Vibes Club, which is like a podcast and events and stuff. Those kind of things are very much ad hoc money. So I don't have like a set amount every month. I have random payments coming in throughout the month. So with that in mind, I think for me, or for other people in a similar situation, it's more beneficial to put a percentage apart. So I think a good way to do it is to maybe say, okay, well, if I get £2,000, let's say for example, because that's a good one to carry on with, if I have £2,000 a month that's coming into my account, that's my amount, that's like my set amount that I need to live on. Anything above that £2,000 is going to be money that I then maybe put a percentage into savings, or a certain figure. So maybe like every time you go over 2,000, you could say I'm going to put £200 in savings, or 20%, or whatever it is. So try and work out what's best for you and what is best for your situation, because everyone's obviously different. The second rule, well, it's kind of the third rule, is no spending except essentials. So only spending on things, like I said before, like your toiletries, your groceries, your petrol, your rent, your bills. Basically anything that is essential for you to live. And if you desperately need something because it's completely worn out, so say maybe you've got a pair of trainers that you wear to work every day, or a pair of boots, and they break for whatever reason, or they become unwearable, you obviously replace them because they are an essential item. The next thing is obviously no spending in any way. That's including cash and credit cards. So it's not just spending on your bank card, it's spending on your credit cards and your cash as well. Just literally no spending. Anything that is a want is included in the no spend, whether that is your haircuts, beauty appointments, clothes, etc. However, I'm going to be making a rule on mine that is anything that is pre-booked and pre-paid for is going to be an exception. So I actually have a day with my friends planned, and we're going to do a bungee class. That is already paid for. So I'm deeming that as an exception because the money's already gone out. I just need to obviously get to the venue, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in detail in a minute. But anything that is already booked in and paid for doesn't count towards the no spend. But if you've got a hair appointment and you pay when you get there, that's obviously deemed as non-essential, unless, I mean, for example, it's like children's haircuts or something. Limit on your grocery shops is one that I saw a lot online. So when you do your grocery shops, think about what's in your cupboard and what you can make with what's in your cupboard. So say for example, you've got loads of pasta, but you decide that you don't want pasta for the week and you're going to go buy like rice and other things. Maybe instead of that, have some of the pasta and just use what's in the cupboards before you go and start buying like full other meals. And I also think a good point that I saw is really looking for those things like frozen veggies and stuff, if you've got freezer space, they're really handy because they cost a little bit less and they last a lot longer because obviously they're frozen. We actually have loads of chicken breasts and stuff that we have frozen in our freezer. We went to Costco with my friend a couple of weeks ago and we bought like massive amounts of chicken, so loads of that's in the freezer. So things like that, I'm not going to be buying new chicken, we're just going to be using what's in the freezer and not buying more. So in the end of the month, hopefully we will A, have some freezer space back, B, have some cupboard space back, and C, be using up everything that we've got, and then only buying like the essential things that need to go with stuff. So it might actually cause me to be a little bit more experimental with meals too, which is quite good. And I also think using things like club card points, if you're a Tesco member, or Nectar, or whatever it is for whatever supermarket you've got, using the points and the vouchers that you've got, because sometimes when you use club card, obviously things become cheaper. They sometimes give you offers for certain things. Use those, use the vouchers, and utilize all of those different things, because it just, every little helps. And I'm just literally giving you the supermarket slogans, but every little helps and it's all beneficial. I also think one of the things I really want to do is, I know that I've got a free Starbucks coffee on my Starbucks app because I've used like the app enough times, I've built up the points. Same on my Costa one. So I have 2 occasions where I can go and sit and work in a coffee shop and I can have a free coffee, which is so ideal. So things like that are really beneficial. And also using these cards in general, even without a no spend month, are good, because when you use the cards, you're literally getting yourself free coffee, so they're benefiting you. Bit annoying to have all the different apps on your phone, but you can get little like things that put it all into one. But things like that are really beneficial. And then for the rules that I'm setting myself, like I said, anything that is already pre-booked and planned in is going to be something that I go ahead with. So if it's already been paid for, I'm going to be doing that. Currently, when I'm filming this, it is I haven't got my watch on, I think it's like the 20th of December. So I'm going to make sure that anything from this point is like, I'm not buying anything new, but then if it's already booked in, it's fine. I'm going to allow myself £150 for the month that is like an emergency fund. So that is for anything that is deemed as something I really need in that moment. So say for example, I'm at a train station where you have to pay for the toilet and I'm busting, I'll pay the £1.50 out of that. Or if, for example, when I go to this bungee thing and we've got to go, or we're going for lunch afterwards, I'm going to make sure that I use that £150 to pay for that lunch. So all these little things, I'm going to try not to spend the whole amount. I'm going to try and spend as little of it as possible, but all these little things are going to be part of the like umbrella of the spending amount that I've allowed myself. Every time I have to really stop myself from spending, I'm going to be putting it into a separate savings account. On Monzo you can set several savings accounts, so I'm going to be putting a savings account on there called the no spend month. And anytime I'm like really craving a Starbucks or something and I don't get it, like if I'm driving to my parents' house or something and I'm like, oh, I really want a Starbucks on the motorway, if I don't do it, I'm going to save whatever that price of that coffee would be into this savings account. Or if I really want a top and it's in my basket online and then I don't buy it and I refrain, that money is then going to go into the savings account. So basically, to see exactly how much I've saved myself by not being impulsive. Okay, we're going to have to slightly ignore the angle. My camera just died and I don't have any batteries that are charged, so apologies for the fact this is now a little bit different. It's also slightly on a wonk, there we go. But yeah, so I'm going to be setting myself the spending amount. I'm also going to be telling myself that I have to save any money that I would plan to spend impulsively, so I can see an exact figure with the amount that I've saved. And then the last thing I'm doing, which technically counts as spending, but we're not going to count it as that because it is saving me money long term, I'm going to be changing my car. Now, I was going to be changing my car in December. However, I'm still shopping around to find one that I really love and to get myself the best deal, because the car that I have currently is really expensive. It's a very expensive car to run, and I want to just see if I can get something cheaper that is more efficient, maybe a hybrid, so I'm running half eco, and just basically save myself money long term. So try and make my monthly payment less, better car, so maybe I'm not spending as much on petrol and all these different things. So technically it's an expense because I'm going to be getting a new finance out. However, it's going to be saving me more money every single month. That means that I won't be spending out as much. So long term, it's going to be beneficial. So that will probably be happening like January and February, depending on when I find and get the car. But I'm definitely getting a cheaper car. It's something I've toyed with for a while, but the finance is basically over, and I don't want to be spending as much as I'm spending every month on the car. So that was one of the expenses that I knew that I could reduce, whereas obviously things like my rent and stuff I can't reduce. I have to be paying that amount every month. Same with bills, although we are thinking about changing our provider of our gas over and like some of our other bits to see if we can find a cheaper deal. So different little things that we can do to save a little bit of money. But hopefully this video has inspired you. As I said, I'm going to be making sure that I document all of this online, so all of my weekly vlogs will probably mention and show how I'm doing things and what I'm doing every day and stuff. I'm also going to be making sure to keep like TikTok updated with no spends and stuff, and there will be a video at the end as well. So lots of content coming up about that. And then if you want to join me and do it too, that would be amazing, because I'd have people to guide me through it. So if you want to, we could maybe set up a little, I don't know, like a WhatsApp chat or a Facebook group or something where we can all do it together. And it just might be quite nice to have other people to inspire you if you're maybe struggling and really wanting to buy things and you don't need to. So let me know on that. But on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more from me. Let me know in the comments if you've done a no spend and how it went for you, or if you're planning to do one, or if you maybe want to or don't want to. Any advice or anything, whatever you want to tell me. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video, guys. Goodbye.